Moses Nickerson, one of the co-founders of Pixlmob. This is Matty Fisher, co-founder of Pixlmob. And Simmy Singh is the general manager for North 7th. So, funny story, we're also the co-founders of North 7th. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about specifically delegation, moving out of your own business. Functionally, what does it look like to entrust part of your business to somebody else or all of your business to somebody else, as well as like specific challenges that Simmy's faced in North 7th, things that he's overcoming, things that he's still working on, all sorts of stuff. So we hope it's helpful to y'all. So let's kick it off with Matty. Matty, tell us a little bit about where North 7th came from.
Yeah, so I think interestingly enough, it was kind of by accident that I got into real estate photography at all.
Fair enough.
So my background is in film and TV, particularly in advertising, and have had a career working in film and TV production, directing and producing. And I, right up until 2020, was living in New York City, primarily directing and producing commercials for national brands. And right at the beginning of 2020, very pre-COVID, I mean, like a few weeks, I actually came back to Greenville, where I'm from originally, and started doing this project. I was trying to make a movie in 100 days, and I started a YouTube channel called the 100-Day Movie Project. Don't look it up. No, you can't. It's still there. But basically, we got shut off on like day 27 or whatever because COVID hit right in the middle of March when I started. So I was here in Greenville
just push through COVID and get. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I know. Like what? But it really sucked. And then, but the thing is, like my whole industry shut down. Like
for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, well, it bounced back a little bit faster than 2 years, but I mean, it impacted it for years.
It seemed like it to an outsider.
But I mean,
movies were canceled and pushed out, and
commercials definitely were. People were sending out like cameras to people's houses and film it on your own. And I bid on a couple of those kind of projects, but I was basically like, well, what am I going to do? Like, and I had come off a bunch of big projects in 2019, and so I wasn't like struggling for money at the time. And so anyways, I was just looking for things to do to try to like, maybe I can make some side money. Uh-huh. And I ended up shooting my grandpa's house. He had like flipped a house and wanted to put it up on Zillow. And I offered to shoot photos. I had a drone. I had a 360 camera that I used for like VFX, visual effects. And I already had the camera and tripod and stuff. So I just shot the house. Those photos are still on Zillow. It's funny. But that was the first house I shot as like a real estate thing.
I don't think Zillow owns the license to those photos, do they?
Oh, I don't know. They have them.
You had the lens and everything? You had a wide lens and everything?
Yeah. Actually, I think I may have actually shot the photos with my iPhone. But the drone and the Matterport I shot
You're a
separately.
credit to our industry.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I didn't know that real estate photography was a thing at the time. And
I don't think most people do.
In the process of shooting that, I'm sitting there thinking, like, do people make money doing this?
Right.
Like shooting houses? Because I had previously owned media companies, and the problem with media companies is that you end up billing, and it's net 60, and cash flow is always a problem. And I was really interested, like, could people make money just shooting these houses? Because it's so straightforward. And I Google searched it, and I just caught the algorithm just right, where like Eli Jones was like hot off of his like training series and like blasting ads. And so I got caught up in the constant wave of Real Estate Photographer Pro ads. And but it was great.
Still get those ads. Yeah.
Maybe. But that's where I was kind of like, oh, I could actually. I bought the course and
really,
and
you bought the Eli Jones
I did some Googling at first.
It's different than it is now.
Sure,
like it was more contained and like little modules to work through. But
yeah, there was actual
that's where we started. Yeah,
there was actual like video course compared to now. He does more like coaching,
and that's what it's like culturally in the real estate world called rep, right? So it is.
Yeah, RAPP.
Yeah,
real estate photography. Yeah.
But I had already done some Googling just to see, like, oh, I could get paid $400 or $500 with video to do houses in my area, and you get paid the next morning. Like, to me, that was the biggest draw in.
Right.
Anyways, I'll cut some things short here, but like, I started the company. North 7th was named after the street I lived on in Brooklyn. So is my address. I started reaching out to realtors, and there was like one realtor that like I knew that constantly sent me birthday messages on Facebook. And
I
so
didn't know it was the birthday messages.
yeah, which
No,
I've now learned is our VA who was sending those messages.
It's not. It wasn't always true. At first, it
No,
was
true
me.
story, true story.
Yeah.
I've looked on your like when you have your computer up, I've looked on your Apple Calendar, and it's just numerous birthdays of random people. It's like every single day. It's like, what do you have all these birthdays for?
So birthdays started as text messages, where I actually meticulously got people's birthdays and actually sent them text messages. And then Facebook made it so easy to like, and it would pregame it and send it out a few days before their birthday. And then eventually, yes, we're going to talk about delegation.
Yeah,
eventually,
No,
Rowena was the one going in, and we would decide on the messaging for periods of time, and she'd send them out.
I remember you told me this story about the birthday thing that he sent you before. I was like, yep, that checks out, because I've looked on his computer and it's just so many people's birthdays. Like, this is ridiculous how many birthdays you have on there.
Well, he does have like 20 people in just his immediate family, so that's also probably part of it. But
That's true. In fairness, though, like sending those birthday messages, even though the initial birthday messages were automated, they would start a conversation or two a day of people just saying, "Oh, hey, I haven't seen you forever. Thanks for the birthday message again. What's going on with you?" And then it would become a real conversation, which was with me, or lunch with you.
yeah.
And we'd start companies and
Yeah.
do all kinds of crazy things from my crazy birthday message
Hey,
system.
I mean, yeah, I can't knock it because I mean, here we are.
Well, just quick thing before you let you continue. For a sales perspective, I mean, saying happy birthday, everyone loves hearing that. Like, whoever texts you, because I mean, that's the day I think people are expecting. You know, like, oh, who's gonna tell me happy birthday? So I started doing that when I saw your
Nice.
computer, and people like that. It's memorable, I think. But anyways, go ahead.
I reached out to Moses originally just because it was one of the few people that was already in my network. You know, when you're starting out, like, you've got to go find realtors as customers, and I'm not super, like, I hate sales. Like, that's like the last thing I want to do on my list of things. I built a big, beautiful website, you know, bought all the gear, did all the training. Now the last part is have a business, and which is not the way you should do it. But thankfully it worked out.
Not best practices,
No.
but hey,
The
with
cool-
our powers combined.
Right. So the cool thing is that like Moses, even when we reconnected, so we knew each other from high school, but really we hadn't been like in contact very much other than like the occasional birthday message.
And you never sent me birthday
Yeah,
messages
because the
back.
reason I knew it was like automated is that you go to your messages and there's like 3 from Moses and they all are exactly the same. Like, hey, I'm messaging you the day before your birthday, and then the next year.
In
hey.
fairness, they changed every year. Nobody ever got the same message twice.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, he made sure his VA changed him every
Yeah.
year.
Every January, we'd have this long discussion of how we wanted to say happy birthday this year, and then we just changed the whole thing.
Scripting
That's
101. Yeah.
Anyway, we got lunch, and he told me about an endeavor he had already started, and they were shooting stuff. He had bought a Matterport, and he was doing real estate, and he told me he had a brokerage with hundreds of agents, and that like he knew my background in what I was doing, and like immediately saw an opportunity. Like if you could deliver on this, I have people that'll buy it today, and I already have tried to do this, and we just didn't have the attention to like go keep at it. And his background in real estate, my background in media, it made sense. Like, real estate media company, here we go. And quickly it took off. But he was still a broker, and he was explaining to me, he's like, I operate a brokerage, and we have hundreds of people, and just within my network that.
And
we
what
could start
year
selling this.
what year was this?
This was mid 2020 when we first
2020.
met,
2020?
and then
So
we officially
kind of
launched.
after COVID. We rebelled and we're at a restaurant downtown. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, right. Outside though, we couldn't
We
go
were
inside.
outside.
Yeah.
There was no indoor seating or anything.
But then we officially launched North 7th on November 7th as our official
Yeah,
launch date. Yeah, 2020.
True story.
Yeah. So we did. I think it is kind of an atypical story, probably from most who oftentimes are starting it on their own. Starting with a partner is pretty atypical from what my experience.
At least for media companies.
Even what I've seen with other companies, it's not usual to start with a partner.
There's a few others, but it's easy to do in a sense on your own. But both Matty and I think we're looking at it. We had both had businesses before. I was exiting the brokerage at the time, or starting that process, and thinking about selling, and beginning to think about leverage, delegation, sale, and all kinds of things like capital allocation very differently than I'd ever thought about it before. And Matty had several, a startup and several companies before as well. So we were both looking at each other thinking something along the lines of like, you complete me.
Yeah.
Of like, there's components of it that I had like to one up here, I took my first photos with a cell phone. Like we were running Matterports, and they were like, can you just like take some photos? And I was like, I have no idea how to do that. Yeah. So our first photos that we ever sold were generated out of a freaking Matterport from their little pins, where you can like take a snapshot, and we sold those to realtors. And all we had was a Matterport.
Wait, you were selling photos from the Matterport.
This was not me, by the way. This was him.
Matty doesn't claim responsibility about this, but the first photos that I ever sold were generated out of a Matterport.
How do you even do that? You talking about like it's just not a 360? It's just like a still shot from
you
a
can
Matterport?
actually capture a still shot. It's not great, but you can do it.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, this whole business that's their entire business model. They'll sell.
Sure.
They'll come into a market and they'll sell packages for $100. It's Matterport in video, slideshow, and photos for $100. The way they do that is they go shoot a virtual tour, and then they just screen capture the photos.
It was probably early on in the industry too, because like
I mean this is
changing a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing that's going on now though.
2020.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Matterport's always pushing to have its little photography network, and not sure that'll overtake, but good luck to them. You get your beer.
So
Just black coffee.
So 2020, I was working on selling the brokerage Matty was talking about, and then we were working on launching North 7th. The sale of the brokerage didn't culminate until it was the day after the Ides of March. It was March 16th. I was really angling for March 15th because I thought that would be great, but I didn't get it done. So anyway, it was several months, and I think Matty was frustrated during those months a little bit because I was still like unraveling all of that stuff. But starting to do sales for North 7th and starting to like just tap into my birthday network and all kinds of things of just checking in with people. We were able to find several realtors, teams that needed some consistent business, and some smaller folks pretty early on to kind of ramp up. I'm trying to think numbers that first year. I think we only got to like maybe
in 2020.
Yeah, what? Like
700
shoots or something?
Oh, with the first 12 months, yeah, I think that's about right.
700-800 in our first year, which is not meteoric,
that's pretty good,
but not too bad for an early business.
Well, I can tell you exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got our numbers. What did we do our first year?
The first year, so I'm not sure when you guys made an REO count, but January 2020 was 0. 2021 was 13. And then 2020, it started to pick up after that.
This summer, we really picked up.
And that April of 2021 was nuts.
Yeah, 2021, it was 30, of April 2021 was 38 shoots.
Yeah, we started doing a few dozen a month by the summertime. I think we were doing like 50-ish. I don't think we were getting close to 100 until the second year.
Yeah, no, about 50. I think the average, just numbers I'm seeing about, the summertime was definitely averaging 40 to 50. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I never really thought to look at that before.
So probably like maybe more like 500 or 600 that first year would be my guess, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that checks out. But steady growth throughout when you started.
Yeah, but I mean that looked like me tapping into my network and connecting with realtors. It looked like some good SEO that Matty built into the website, easy ordering systems. Aereo made a lot of that pretty easy early on. They were brand new at the time. We were still We were hoping for features when they launched that they didn't get around to for another year. But like there were a lot of pieces of it that Aereo made possible, actually, in the ease of booking and the ability to scale, which I think was a key piece of leverage that Matty brought to the table early on, where a lot of stuff that would have had to hire out became possible through a technology tool that kind of streamlined a lot of booking and components for communication, just made scaling easier.
And I think in that period of time too, like one of the biggest decisions we were making, even for me personally, like I wasn't necessarily intending, and we talked about this, that I was going to be doing real estate photography long term. I was anxious to get back into the film industry, and this was an opportunity to kind of like offset the gig part of shooting commercials or even working on a TV show where you get paid in small bursts, and then you sit on your hands for weeks or months. And so like if we could get this up and running and it was going to just be delivering me a paycheck and we could hire photographers that basically kept it going, that was when you were the one that was really kind of introducing me to the idea that like we could build a company that could be operated, and particularly the photographers didn't have to be me. And so very early on we started looking for other photographers to add to the team, like right away. Like in 2021 was the first one. So Zach was the first person that we trained.
Shout out Zach Peeler, the man.
Yep.
He's a good dude.
And,
Great dude.
Taught him how to use a drone. Taught him how to shoot. He's already a talented videographer.
Yep.
But taught him the ropes on the real estate side, and he just shadowed me for a week or so. It wasn't a ton of shoots, and was pretty much like self-sufficient and ready to go.
Well, you taught him well, because he does a great job still to this day. 4 years later, what?
Very reliable.
Very always reliable. Yeah.
Yep.
I think in a sense we both were starting the business from a perspective, different ways. We probably would have described it differently from a perspective of this wasn't going to be what we were going to do forever, but it was something we could do in COVID that we could start. I think you were thinking of going back to the film industry. I was thinking of starting another brokerage. Like those were our primary drivers, I think, early on. And this is just something that could exist and we could build and leverage and delegate. You go back to the film industry and I go start a competing brokerage. I had a non-compete with a large real estate brand at the time that I needed to wait out. So I had 2 years to focus on something else. But it started to take off and started to create other opportunities and other ideas that we kind of got infatuated with and then started to act on some scaling technology ideas that would eventually become Pixlmob. But let's stick with the North 7th story for now. So when did you actually come on with North 7th? Because you were in my brokerage as I was selling it.
Well,
and
don't say that twice.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it.
No, we can. Yeah. No, so like after I graduated college, I decided to get a real estate license. My parents weren't very happy about that, right? Like, just, got through college. I have an accounting.
What did
degree.
you? Yeah, I was gonna say. What did you major in?
I have an accounting degree, BA. I also studied music in college, and I could have went and gotten I could have easily went and did CPA stuff. Could have worked at one of the accounting firms, but I decided to get a real estate license. I approached real estate because I wanted to have a career where I was autonomous, where I had a little bit more freedom. I wasn't really interested into the 9 to 5 kind of sitting in an office type thing. I couldn't really do that. I got an accounting degree as a backup, really, which is most people are just like, they look at me like, what does that mean? But it is a backup. In my thought process, it's like people always need an accountant, so even in a recession, whatnot, I always have a job as a backup, right? But my main focus was, some type of investing, something related to real estate, to where, I don't want to say mailbox money. I think that's a cliche nowadays, and just a lot of these, finance bros is what we call them. Talk about mailbox money. They don't know what they're talking about. Honestly, I didn't know what I was talking about. But so I was like, somehow I got roped in. Well, not somehow. Keller Williams Drive is the brokerage I started out with, and they actually reached out to me in college. Keller Williams in general, I'm sure Moses, you can attest to this. They do a great job, and I'm sure they put a lot of resources into recruiting. And
so many resources.
And they got me. I mean, and there's a lot of people that are successful with Keller Williams. I mean, you were successful with Keller Williams.
Yeah.
But I almost felt like, to me, it didn't match my what I really want to do. Like I didn't want to be a realtor. I didn't want to sell houses. I didn't want to do that. More so, I wanted to invest in like buy houses myself and do all that type of stuff. But I realized, and then I ended up buying a house, and it was a lot different than like the flipping process. But I still knew that like I wanted to be in this type of space. But anyways, the brokerage was Keller Williams, and then the team I joined happened to be your team. I didn't know that. I didn't know who you were. I think I only saw you 2 times in like the 6 months I was there. Like people said like, oh yeah, we got to show Moses numbers. Like Moses was this like figurehead that was just like, is he just a myth? I don't know. I never see this guy. But I mean, you guys were doing your own thing. Obviously.
That was a almost fully leveraged real estate team that we could spend a moment talking about cautionary tales of delegation with that one.
Well, I learned a lot there. I mean, it's God's plan. Everything worked out how it did, but I realized that like sales is my thing, but like real estate not so much. But it was your team, anyways, and there was one day where you came in. I think it had to do with North 7th. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the brokerage was telling you what North 7th can only shoot for Keller Williams Drive. Is that what it was? Because the reason you decided to depart from KW, you didn't need to go too much into it, but what was like the thing that made you show up and be like,
No, it didn't have anything to do with North 7th. When I sold the brokerage, I decided to just keep my real estate license in that brokerage because I wasn't going to do much with it. I might
Sure.
sell a house or two, but I was focused on North 7th at that point.
Okay.
But in that team, 2 agents decided that they wanted to start their own team and started to pull resources and violate contracts and stuff like that. So at that point, I didn't have a whole lot of reason to stick around, and decided, I think it's time to go.
Well, you made the right decision.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why you made it. I don't know what made you, but I'm glad because it was 6 months of hell that I had at that brokerage. I hated it. I hated every single day of it showing up. Because it wasn't what I wanted to do, and it's not that I wasn't good at it. I didn't want to be good at it. Like this wasn't something the people like just the day to day. It just wasn't for me. Like there's freedom, but also like if I'm not good at doing this, there's also no money. So it was a lot of freedom, but I was pretty much unemployed at that point because I just didn't like the scripting and everything they had was brilliant, but I just genuinely didn't enjoy the day to day and what a realtor was supposed to do. So there was one day that one of the team leaders of the team that you own came in and he said, yeah, Moses will be joining us today. He has big news. I'm like, okay, sure. And I remember we all sat in this small little room. They're all small rooms in there, just closet-sized rooms. And, we all stuffed in there, the 8 of us, 7 or 8 of us, and Moses came in. And this is the second time I saw Moses. First time was like when I first joined the team, and then I never saw him again. And he pops up one day with a full beard. Like he didn't have a full beard.
Did I grow a beard?
You grew a beard and you came back, yeah.
That's funny.
And you're like, yeah, I'm just deciding to part ways. He said it in a very politically correct way and non-offensive way. But essentially, he was saying like, yeah, I'm dipping from the brokerage, and whoever wants to come with me, come with me. This is my translation. He said it in a more delegating way, but that's essentially what it was. And before I even heard the other side, I'm like, yeah, I'm going with you. I don't know where you're going, but I'll come. And because I didn't want to be there, like I didn't want to be anywhere but there, and so yeah, I think I was the only agent that left with you because you started another brokerage.
Not then. That wasn't for another year or so.
Oh, was it? Yeah, but you separate. Well, I put my license on Bauer, didn't I?
I don't know. This is.
I think you had Bauer.
Probably.
Yeah. So you had another brokerage at the time, and. Still, I was like, I don't want to do real estate stuff, but I'll just go with him for now because I don't want to be here.
And then one day, Simmy shows up in her office and just takes a desk. They're like, who's this guy?
Well, no. Well, I'll get to that.
Refugee.
What actually happened was I'd heard about North 7 through somebody on the team Ashley, who worked with you at the time, and she talked about it. And I've seen, the logo and some stuff she's working on, but I didn't really know what it was. And I remember we were at the other office, Atlas, wherever that was. There's another name. Atlas Local, yeah. I can't believe I forgot. and you guys had we had the box at the time, the North 7th box. I remember I walked in there, and I specifically remember this. There was like this, like the bouncy ball chair type thing. I grabbed one of those. Yep. I sat there, and there's this guy, Matty. That's where
did that
Matty.
go? I like that thing.
Well,
we had it over at the other office. You took it. I thought you did, or Jen got rid of it. Anyway, but
do, yeah.
I don't know where it is.
And I remember it was just me and I think me and Matty at the time in that box when I just walked in, because Moses, you had to go do something, and I literally asked him like, "What is this? What is this company?" And so he closed one of the doors. There was a whiteboard there, and he explained the entire thing to me, and I was sitting there. I'm like, "This is genius," because the way you explained it. First of all, it was brilliant. It was I could understand it. So when you say you wouldn't be a good salesperson, I disagree sometimes.
Oh, Matty sold some big stuff.
Because I think you sold me on it, obviously. Because oh yeah, that's genius. What I really liked about the model was it solves a problem. It's very simple. It has the kind of not to say fast food model, but it. You go through drive-through order, check, blah blah blah. There's a menu involved. Then you get what you order, and you pay for it, and you get what you order. It was yeah, this is perfect. And I remember there was a time where I literally asked you for a job at North 7th, and you made one. You made a sales job. So that's where I started off as sales. And thank you for giving me that job, because I literally asked, because I didn't want to do real estate. I didn't want to do the licensing stuff. I didn't want to be an agent. So I was kind of in a clever way, just trying to get out of that, because you were also training me to do agent stuff. But
yeah, at the beginning we were doing both. We did a couple real estate deals together, but you didn't love that.
Yeah,
sure.
I didn't tell you I didn't love it at the time.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Did I?
You
okay.
did.
You probably saw it on my face. So I was in a clever way, maybe this could be something, because I don't want to do that. But I can't tell him that, because he owns both of these. You own the brokerage I'm a part of, and the, co-founder of this. I'm I can't make it too obvious, but yeah.
I mean, I would say there was a solid year, probably, and maybe even more, where Simmy was in the office. We were talking about how could Simmy do something for North 7th. You were talking about doing sales, and then we eventually pulled the trigger and said, "Yeah, let's get him to actually do some sales calls." You went up and set up a little phone booth in the basement in our storage room.
Eventually,
Eventually, I had a cave down there. Yeah,
which was not, by the way, to the audience, this is just a straight up concrete basement with pipes.
Yeah. No, it was literally a storage closet. There was there's nails protruding from the walls.
Yeah.
It was straight up a storage. There's no AC. There also wasn't great Wi-Fi.
Yeah, right. Not great, but you just started making calls, right? So that was for us one of the big things we needed to try to solve for. We just needed people. We needed regular reach out and
yeah.
That I couldn't do anymore. So we needed ways to couldn't do as much with other stuff we were starting, and so
yeah, I do remember coming in at a time where you guys I didn't know exactly what was going on, but it looked like your focus was somewhere else. It was still in North 7th, but I could tell you guys had other bigger fish to fry at the time. So I kind of knew my place, just coming in, just feeling out the vibe. Everybody had a role, and there was I don't know if it was scaling at the top of your heads at the time of the company, but it definitely wasn't what I was doing. So yeah. I kind of knew my role coming in.
By the time we were kind of at the peak of when we were operating the company, I think we had 6 or 7 photographers, and it was a mix of contractors, and we had 2 staff photographers.
Right.
At that point, yeah.
And we had 1 full-time admin, and then we had 1 full-time VA. This was pre-Pixlmob, so we were doing our editing through BPEC, actually, I think, which was already a larger editing agency. And so we think we had pretty much locked down the systems. We had done a lot of the test work and done a lot of the trial and error stuff of what is a good training system. We already had really well documented training. We had gear. We had customers. We had our own operating system. We were using Aereo.
No, it was very established. I remember that. There wasn't any established as in the very fundamental part of it was complete. Like I never had to worry about that. Where the photographers, there was a training manual, there's REO, like the ordering system, clients. So I don't remember any of that like having to figure out. So that was nice.
Yeah. By the time we were pretty much like Pixlmob started, that was like right before Pixlmob started. We were pretty much at that place where we finally felt like it could operate.
Yeah, actually, you were a part of that. Like a big part of that was how does North 7th keep momentum in a circulating industry where you constantly need new clients if I'm turning my attention to how do we bring Pixlmob to a huge audience
Sure.
in a totally different way that I'd never done anything before, and Matty and I were trying to figure out how to do that. But I think, honestly, bringing you on gave me confidence, particularly as you're starting to get some traction that summer, and particularly that fall, you started doing pretty well, that I could start to disengage. Like one of the things Matty and I talk about sometimes is when somebody else in your business can do something 80% as well as you, then you're done. Like it's time to let them do it because your ability to focus on it, as opposed to my ability to do it 20% of the time, is going to almost definitionally succeed better. So my 20% is definitely not better than your 100%, particularly when you're trained to a level that you can do the job. And when that started to take was when I started to feel more and more free to take my eye off of growing North 7th, which freed us up with a lot of creativity and energy to start throwing ourselves into how to grow Pixlmob. So,
What was interesting about North 7th, I don't think I could have gotten this anywhere else. I had a lot of freedom.
you did.
I had a lot of freedom.
I am definitely prone to give freedom to people, probably too much.
Well, it worked out for me because I like being autonomous. I don't like people down my neck with deadlines and stuff. I do things. I think naturally I'm able to prioritize what's important if I'm like all in on something. But in this case, having all that freedom, I was able to just kind of tinker around and kind of learn everything, kind of be nosy for things and kind of go through the Google Drive. Like there's a lot of stuff in there, read over stuff and like just really kind of research where I was and kind of do things my way. I didn't have to answer to, there was a result that was required of me, but how I got there, it was up to me. So I do appreciate that part. I don't think I could have gotten that anywhere else because I think people would have not liked that because, I know y'all wanted me to be somewhere at a certain time, and most of the time I wasn't there. But you guys wanted me at the office at a certain time, and I just wouldn't show up some days. Doesn't mean I wasn't working. It's just like I like the freedom of just being where I want to be.
Yeah,
so.
Simmy rebelliously pioneered our hybrid schedule.
Well, I wouldn't say rebellious. It's just what you kind of get out of me, and it's like I swear sometimes I think 40 to 50% North 7th I've just ran sitting in my car, because stuff just pops up.
I don't think that's a real thing that a lot of photographers experience.
Yeah, not so dissimilar to most people's experience.
So, anyways, I do appreciate the autonomy there, and I don't think I could have. But like in this kind of industry, like even just from my experience being in real estate, like as a realtor, stuff just pops up and you have to deal with it kind of like right there and then. So, a lot of toilet work, a lot of front seat car still on work.
Wow. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about where North 7th is today. What do you guys shoot? What does the team look like? Well, let's start there. What does the team look like for North 7th?
So right now, we have 7 photographers total, working on an 8th one. The photo you sent this morning, he's ready to go. So 7 to 8 photographers, 7 fully trained, ready to go. We have an admin. She works in the morning, so like she covers my morning, so I'm able to do stuff without having to worry about calls. We have a VA that is overseas, and she, 12 hours ahead, so when it's day here, it's night over there, vice versa. So she's, able to work out everything and make sure deliveries are solid. Let me see. Yeah, then I guess you guys have like kind of a little bit of a role every now and then. Every other week I meet with Moses. Meet with Matty every blue moon. Talk about stuff. But yeah, and then I general manager stuff. I run day to day.
You shoot some now too.
Yeah, I do shoot. Yeah, I'm also starting this year. I've ventured into the photography space, and that's taught me a lot about. It showed me a whole different side of the company that I should have had a better idea of, given that it's the product that we're selling. So I came in as a salesperson, and then just kind of relying on the photographers initially to, it is what it is. I didn't really have an eye for it. I wouldn't even call myself a photographer. I still kind of don't. But when I came in, it was like, we had staff photographers, and everybody seemed to know what they were doing. And whether or not they were doing it right, I don't know. But that's just what I was selling was the service, not so much kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of the photos. But and I still don't get into the nitty-gritty, but it still helps to, like, being on site, like, it's helped me with, like, just overall just what shots are supposed to look like, what it isn't. It's things we can improve upon, especially in post. And just overall kind of telling the story of a home. Like, the advantage of me coming in as a salesperson on the camera, I think it's a lot different. Like, not to discredit the actual photographers that are like professional photographers that do other projects, not just real estate. But me, like, I approached when I literally just jumped in to the photo side this year, and I just shot like, okay, trying to sell this product first of all. So how do I properly convey the home? How do I tell the story of the home to where, because I've seen a lot of photos leading up to that. So like I've kind of have an idea of what sells, but that's how I always approach the photos is what will sell. I think you have to think less of a photographer at times and more like a salesman when you take these photos.
Yeah.
Because even now, like, I don't critique the photographers too hard, but because it's kind of like imposter syndrome. Like, I'm not a photographer. Like, how can I really tell somebody what to do?
I don't think you can say that for too much longer, by the way.
Well, no, I agree. At this point, I'm very comfortable taking photos. But even to this day, like, I approach it to where, like, okay, how are these photos going to help a realtor sell the home? Like,
you approach it like a salesperson.
Like a salesperson. Like, once you get the photography settings down, like, real estate photography is pretty straightforward. Once you kind of get the basics of camera, I think it's really just camera settings, and getting a camera. Like, learning that, I think is probably the most daunting part at first. Like, it was for me, because I'm like, oh my god, all these settings. What is ISO? What is f number? Apparently F number is the same as aperture. Whoa, like none of these things that like
same, but
none of these things that like you would professional photographer would already know. So just taking the photos as a salesperson, I found a lot of success in. And this isn't me gloating, but I've done probably like 100 to 200 shoots now, and I've never had a complaint on my photos. Yeah. And I don't say that with pride. I say it more as like I've always approached the photos as a salesperson. Like it's not so much, the art. It's more of the kind of the function of what the photos are.
You've done 100 to 200 orders?
Shoots, yeah. No, yeah.
That's more than I did.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you were already, you were
right. So you can officially
Law and Order a season, so
you can officially.
Well, that's a stretch, but I was like a production assistant on Law and Order, to be clear. But yeah.
You could be knighted with all of my authority as a non-photographer. You could be a photographer.
Thank you. That really means a lot. Wow. So yeah. No, but no, really. So just having that perspective, and now I'm like, when I go back and somebody has a customer service issue, just being able to, talk the language of photography, and see what's actually wrong. Because most of the time, realtors don't. I'd say 75% of the time, they don't know why they don't like the photo. They just don't like it.
They just know they don't like it.
They just don't. And now it's like very easy for me to tell why they don't. Especially with like, I think the most important shot's the front of the home, right? And typically that's the first thing people see. And just sales psychology wise, that shot needs to be the best shot.
Sure.
So, anyways, yeah, that's it's also helped with communicating with the photographers a bit more. I think most of them also are like the Glad that I'm shooting. I know a couple of them told me. They're like, yeah, like I'm starting to understand.
You sympathize a little bit more.
Sympathize much more. It's hot as hell right now. Like
True.
during these shoots, like nothing we can really do about that. But I'm like, man, I was sending Brad on some just some adventures. And,
Yeah.
Some hellscapes in August.
Seriously. But no, and I also enjoy it. It's fun. I think it's really fun. I enjoy shooting real estate. I enjoy really just knowing that what I'm doing is actually going to help sell the home. Like I'm thinking more probably, Moses, you might, I don't know if this makes sense, but I'm thinking like a listing agent. Like if somebody is putting eyes on this home, which angle would make the story look better and build the case for, booking a showing or actually, thinking about putting an offer in the home. And that's something that I'm trying to incorporate a little bit more with the photographers now, is trying to think more as I don't like to use the word salespeople, but like trying to, put themselves in the shoes of, okay, if this is a new person who is looking at these photos for the first time, if they can pick one photo in the home, will they know where they are in the house? Also, is it like aesthetically pleasing? Is it does it look good? I don't know how to explain it very well.
Also, does it even tell the story? Is this hallway adding anything to the story?
You're right.
Yeah.
That's, and it's like,
does it need to be taken?
Because we include floor plans with our shoots, but it's like, are they able to place them? If they pick a random photo, if they've already seen all the photos and they pick a random photo, are they able to tell where they are in the home? I think that's important. Like when I was even looking for a house, I'm like, looking through some of these photos, I'm like, where the hell is this room? Like, where am I in the house?
Sometimes
I think
it's tough, yeah.
So I think agents, I hope they appreciate that. I don't know, but just that's kind of the standard I've been trying to kind of keep.
Reviews say they appreciate it.
That's good.
Yeah, and I think like what you're hitting at, I think is pretty important. So you came into the industry from a different place than most people do. Most people start shooting houses, and they slowly learn sales, and they learn scaling, and they learn delegation. You came in where you already knew how real estate sales worked a little bit. So you had a level of sales empathy and understanding of what a realtor needed and wanted. But then you added on to that starting to have an understanding of photography and what our photographers are going through. So now you, managing the company, kind of sit in the middle where you're able to, it's not like Matty and I sometimes talk about like a creative director. You don't provide like creative direction, but you do sit in this you do that too sometimes, but this empathetic position in the center where you can mediate between what the realtor needs and what photographers want, and engage in a product that isn't. I think one of the core things about what you're doing that I appreciate is that the right thing to sell. Like it's not about the photos, it's about the experience of the photos. It's not about
It's the whole thing, from booking to final delivery. Yeah.
Availability, I think has been huge.
Yeah, I think you really thread those needles pretty well, that the realtors in the area appreciate that. It's not just, hey, I'm going to get these artistic photos.
Yeah.
It's that I'm going to have responsive customer service. I'm going to have revisions turned around on time. Simmy's going to be communicative. I've got availability with a staff of 8 photographers, because the experience, well, how would you describe it? Like, what's the experience the realtor wants to have? So they want good photos, but what else does a realtor want?
Well, I think just from being on the sales side for a majority of the time, how I was able to get as many, I think I've closed up to probably more than 1,000 sales at this point. I think I've been here like 3 or 4 years. And I've talked a bunch of, I don't talk as much to a lot of, direct sales one-on-one like I used to when I was just a full salesperson. But from all the experience, really I think majority of it's not even related to the photos. Majority of it is the processes, the website, the booking, the ease of it all, the simplicity of it. I think the more simple it is, the better. Like from step one, just them coming on the website. What do we do? Where do they need to navigate? What kind of trying to direct their eyes to where it needs to go, where to order, where to find the pricing and all that. Like there's a lot of times there's other websites I see that other photographers have. Not all of them. These days it's getting better. I think more people are catching on. But a lot of it, like I think one website I saw, I don't even know if it was in this state or somewhere else. The first page was just like the guy giving his life story. It's like, yeah, I'm so passionate about photography. Like I put my all. It's just cheesy, just memoir looking thing of like, this is why I do what I do. But like realtors don't care about that shit.
I need listing photos tomorrow.
Yeah,
bro.
they don't care about that shit. And like, in a way that makes it simple. I think me approaching it from a sales perspective instead of a photography perspective initially kind of made me see that. I definitely think if I started as a photographer, because I'm more of a creative, I approach things very creative and artistically generally. I'm a musician. I think that way. Like I'm wired like that to, create and, improve and get, hyper focus on things. But they don't care about that. It's an ends to a means. So making the whole entire process as seamless and easy and simple as possible for them is the better, because like in a real estate transaction, like I've done a couple in my lifetime. I know enough. I wouldn't even say I've know enough to be dangerous, but along those lines, there's a lot of moving pieces. Like they have, especially when they're listing, like they have from inspection companies, appraisers, the sellers themselves. Like there's an emotional piece involved. The agents, whatever, they have other contracts going on. I think like even with like the team now, I notice some of my photographers, they're not always aware of that because they aren't aware of that. They haven't done it. There's a lot of moving pieces to a real estate transaction, and I think photography is not a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And like just kind of knowing, and this is something that I kind of learned in the last year and a half.
It's like, counterintuitive,
right? Like,
you'd think that would be a centerpiece.
You
but
think because
for most realtors, it's just not. It's like it's a checkbox. You got to have photos of the thing before you can put it in the MLS. Mm-hmm. But most of them, it's not like. And in fairness, for some realtors, like we have some luxury clients and stuff like that, where it really is like I need this on point in this way in this particular pattern.
But even then,
is that for most of them? Like, what percentage of realtors do you think feel like it's got to be absolutely pristine and perfect and luxury level versus the ones that need it turned around on time at a business transaction?
Well, that's hard to measure. I wish I had a better measure for that.
Take a stab.
I think 75 to 85% care more about the function of it. The quick turnaround. Is it good enough? Like, is it not like noticeably?
Yeah, like the quality is the playing stakes. Like it's not the
it has to
table
be good,
stakes.
Right?
But it doesn't have to be the Mona Lisa.
Sure. But like it also like the part of that is where you got to take the right shots, right? But like I said, it's about 75 to 85%. More so, it's just like the ordering, the experience they have. So it's like I learned that recently. It's like we're really just a small part of their entire real estate transaction. There's a lot of things going on. Like I know it's funny because like whenever stuff gets rescheduled, a lot of photographers are like, why they get rescheduled? Why are there cleaners there right now at the time of the shoot? That happens a lot, but I'm thinking like they're probably struggling with the homeowner themselves. Like the homeowner probably is giving them crap, and then they're unfortunately have to give other people crap too, right? It's like it
gets passed through.
It gets passed through, and I think
you come home and you kick the dog because that whole story.
And even I like get kind of because this is all we do is real estate photography. We're not and media in general. Like we're not involved with the rest of the transaction.
Yeah.
So I think it's easy to get tunnel visioned on the media part and kind of put more importance on what we do.
Overvalue
over the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
So, and I know it's like, especially when it's like summertime, we do a bunch of shoots, and like, it's a pain when the cleaners are there or like the house isn't ready, homeowners are moving stuff around. Like even I get annoyed with that, but like, there's still a level of like you got to have a little bit of empathy and compassion to where like we're a very small part of the wheel here. Like they have other stuff. We're like one of the first steps, and we kind of have to like know our role, know our place into that. So, and like there's been times where they're signing the listing agreement at the shoot. So it's like, in my head I'm like, okay, if I had a whole day of shoots, I'm probably going to upload this one first.
Yeah.
And make sure it gets uploaded because it's a sense of urgency, right? And that's why I try to have a sense of urgency for every order, because like if we deliver everything first thing in the morning, we say 24 like next day turnaround, it's not 24 but next day, but like trying to get everything in the morning.
Wait, pause. Why do you do that? Why next day instead of 24 hours?
Well, 24 hours, you see, well if somebody has a shoot at 8 a.m., they're not going to get the photos back at 8 a.m. next morning.
No, but they will get them by.
They will get them the next day.
Yeah.
So like it gives us a cushion. Right?
And also, if they have a shoot at 5 p.m., you're
Right.
gonna also get it the next day, the next morning. So you'll get it faster.
They'll get it in 14 hours.
Yeah, so it's like I forgot the right terminology, but like we over exceed the expectation that we.
Real quick, can you tell us just how many shoots is North 7th going to do this year? Or how many shoots this month? What's your production level right now?
So this month we're already at 12. Was it just?
It's the second.
It's the second. Wow, that's pretty good. So summertime is obviously busier. During the summer we always exceed. So from like April, really March to I'd say September to October, we're always over 100 shoots. Probably hitting 120. June, I think it also depends on the market. I think last month there was like a slowdown in the market, so there's just like weeks where it's like, what the heck's going on now? There's just no one booking, even like the people that are always doing production. So I'd say average 100 to 120. We're usually over 100 at this point. So the goal is double, triple that. But.
Last topic, I think for time we'll do kind of a speed run here, but I'll start this question actually more for Moses. Let's talk about the transition, and particularly anyone who's listening in they're thinking about selling their company or maybe transitioning to, having a manager. They still want to run it themselves, but let's talk about delegation. Let's talk about someone else running your company. And then maybe I want to hear kind of from your perspective, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Before we hand off, I'm going to give a 30 seconds on this, which is like Moses and I operate on a kind of level where we make a decision and we move forward immediately as much as we can. I mean, we're doing this conversation and it's kind of like we're going to scrap it together. We're going to pull the microphones off our desks. We're going to, talk to the people we know that are in our phone books. Like, let's get this thing going. Let's not, build a big set. But I think your transition was a very similar thing. Like we knew we wanted to do it. Not everything was buttoned up, and like we had a clean package. And let's, we didn't have to wait till it was all figured out to start going. There's pros and cons, but anyway, maybe give us a little bit of context of the transition and even kind of the decision making around bringing Simmy on and perspective on how that went.
Sure. So one of the things I'm probably the most indebted to Keller Williams for is the idea of delegation and leverage. And I was privileged to coach a lot of real estate teams around the country, and the most common thing I got to coach them on was the difficulty of, like, when you've built something, when it's your business, I'd say 95% of business owners, at least anyone who's never sold their business and knows what that's like, there is a passionate attachment. It's very hard to let go of things that you built. It's so hard to see other people making different choices than you would make with something that you've put blood, sweat, and tears into.
Yeah.
And making mistakes or doing
watching
them do it just the wrong way, and you're like
doing things that are brilliant that you'd never have thought of,
or also that,
or
that's even worse. Yeah,
and then you're like, oh, dang it, I should have thought of that. But it's just tough. Yeah. Like, everything that was yours, you're now entrusting somebody else to steward, and that is just, it is kind of gut wrenching at times. But I think God put me in a place where I had to learn that through some life pieces. And then I hope that's one of my greater strengths as I lead businesses, though it's also one of my weaknesses, where if you leverage too fast, you delegate too fast, then it comes across as abdication, where people need more from you than you're giving. But hopefully often we hit a balance, and I hope we kind of hit a balance with you. Like I knew from the beginning you wanted a lot of autonomy and a lot of freedom, and it's actually one of the things that I really valued in you was, even though sometimes, like I was joking with you a minute ago, you rebelliously designed our hybrid work policy, but that's actually a behavioral trait that I valued in you. There are times, of course, where it's frustrating, where I want you to do more of a system that we're working on together or something like that. But at the same time, what I need in somebody who's going to run something that I'm not going to touch anymore is that initiative and willingness to think and design a system that's going to work for you. And I think that's a key thing to look for. If you're just going to try to hire someone to run your business that's just a sycophant who wants to do everything the exact same way you did, that's probably almost never going to work.
Right.
Unless it's just systematized to the nines, like no small business is.
Interesting.
It's just not going to happen. Like, it's going to be at a franchise level for that to work. And most small businesses aren't there. So those kinds of behaviors that like we're joking about are actually, I think, very valuable. And you see that in entrepreneurs all over the time, like all over the time, all over the place. Like, we tend to be the people who were distracted in school. We tend to be the people who were like doing things differently.
See average, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think I read somewhere that like the majority of entrepreneurs are like C students.
No, people that make straight A's in college, they work for people that were C average.
I
don't know how true
it
that
happens.
is.
Like,
Well,
I don't know if it always happens, but it definitely happens.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of my perspective. Is I valued that. There's points where it's frustrating. It's hard to let go of your baby. I know we've had many conversations about that.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
It's hard to stand at a distance, but you have to. If you don't, you smother the business. And sometimes I'm sure you feel that way from me too. Even when we get together, I know there's stuff where you feel like there's stuff Moses wants, but you got to focus on other stuff.
Yeah.
And I try to trust you that your boots are on the ground and you see things from a tactical perspective that I can't see.
Sure.
So I try to guide those conversations where I'm seeing from the air, you're seeing from the ground. And try to default to trusting your judgment,
Yeah.
and then put a little pressure on you. And like, I really do need a P&L and stuff like that.
Sure. No, I think there's a level of respect for the owners and integrity involved. At least this isn't me boasting on my end, but like, I'm going to be honest with you guys, and I'm going to respect whatever you guys want, or like kind of looking to see what happened in the company or looking to incorporate, and I might put in the icebox for now, but I do in that position respect everything you guys have to say, and I wouldn't lie to you. So I think finding someone, I hate to say someone like me, but someone that actually cares for the company, that is involved, that likes the mission, and has your what's the word? I don't even know how to explain it, but is looking at it the same way you guys are. Like, it's something to grow, and we're all in it together type thing. So
Yeah. I think your passion for it is also a key thing that gave me some confidence. It's like, you were stoked about North 7.
no, like I told you,
Like-
when you first explained it to me, like, this is genius. This is a great model. It solves so many problems, and it works. So yeah.
Enthusiasm covers over a lot of stuff.
I also love the logo. I mean,
You do have a weird affection
No,
for our
the
particular
logo is
yellow.
great. No, it's the logo in itself. Like, did you design the logo?
Matty did.
I love
Yeah.
this fucking logo, dude. It's great. Like, it's all these other media companies, they have like this generic, like. Just,
It's a house.
It's just
it's
a
house
and
or a lens.
It's just one of them. I swear is the same house I saw on Canva. Like, you just type in house. I'm like, fuck. It probably doesn't matter, but like, I like working in a place that has a nice logo. So,
I like it too.
Yeah.
Matty probably hates it, actually. He designed it like 4 years ago. So
No, I do like it.
he's still like, hey, there you go. He still likes it.
Well, you know why he likes it? Because he doesn't look at it anymore. I feel like someone who created something like, oh, fuck, why didn't I? Yeah, no, I get that.
I mean, that's a
get
strong
that.
testament. This man tries to rebrand our companies every 4 months.
No,
so if he still likes the North 7th logo, that is a solid
What
logo.
is it? If you love something enough, you have to
Yeah.
let it go.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So,
I will. So I'll wrap it up. You guys, if you have any last comments, but I will say the hardest part about trying to get to hand off a business or a department of your company or a project or a feature, or in our case, that's a lot of what we're doing in the Pixlmob world. But even if it's like there could be people right now that are listening to this and they're thinking about hiring a photographer. And that seems incredibly daunting.
Yeah.
Right. Yet alone handing off their entire business.
Yeah, understandable.
But they've got part of their business. Maybe they want to hand off their finances or someone to redesign their website or whatever. Like, it is very hard to do. No one's going to ever do it the way you're going to do it in your mind as good as you will. Like, but there's some real discipline, I think, to choosing to do it anyways.
Yeah.
And trusting that person and watching them, like I said, make those mistakes, take the failures. The thing is, like, you wouldn't be able to run the business today if you didn't have to figure some of it out on your own.
Sure.
Like, and we can give you the playbook and write out everything, and we can coach you and give you specifics. But
that's important too. It's
Yeah.
really hard to do a handoff if there's not any documentation, there's not any systems.
Yeah.
Like, people try that all the time, and that's a recipe to fail as well.
Yeah.
there's a balance. Yeah,
There's a balance, yeah.
I think there's somewhere in between, but I think you have to go into it committed that you are going to remove yourself. In my case, I found it very hard, and I
Sure.
had to choose. And Moses kind of was like, for me, coached me on, like, you need to just step out entirely. Not in a place where it was ever bad, but like if I was going to be productive and focused on Pixlmob, I had to step away.
Right.
Now, not everyone's in the situation that I was in particularly. Like some people might be thinking about just hiring a general manager so that they can go on vacation, or like they want to, they want to maybe start another thing or have cut their time down. But
I don't think most people want to hire a GM to go start an international software platform, but if you're listening and that's you, I definitely want to talk to you.
No,
Yeah.
you guys hit the head on the nail there, because like just from like the last 2 or 3 months, I've trained 2 other photographers. And in the last year and a half, we trained an admin, and really just letting them jump in and fail and kind of learn.
It's kind of critical.
It's so important. And like I'm the type of person, Matty, is similar to you, is like that stresses me out. Like they need to show up day one ready to go, but like that's not realistic.
Yeah.
Like you need to just kind of throw them in. Like these new photographers we've hired, I just, even if I don't want to, I'm like, gotta throw you in. And if something happens, communicate to the client. Like this is a new photographer. We're just training them, so if something's wrong, offer them whatever. Luckily, that hasn't happened. We've had a good batch of people come in, but that's the plan. Like, if somebody new makes a mistake, like some admin stuff that wasn't, correctly trained on our part, and the client's like, what happened? Why didn't this, X get booked at this time? Like, sorry, we're training someone else. We have new people on board. It's kind of delegating that in a more of a, managerial way to explain to the, client. I think really helps. But I get it, man. It's very nerve-wracking, and I'm sure it was nerve-wracking for you guys seeing me, because I'm like I'm the Wild West sometimes. Like you never know with me, but I think it's kind of a risk at the same time. But really vetting the people that you want to hire and just throwing them in there, they'll learn. The smart people they'll pick it up, and that's how they're able to hang and continue on. So
Maybe you hire the right talent. It solves a lot of things. There's an old Andrew Carnegie story.
Andrew Carnegie?
Carnegie. I said that wrong. Sorry. But he talks about, and I internalized this a long time ago, and I love it. He had somebody make a $100,000 mistake, and for Carnegie's area, that was like $1 million, right?
Yeah.
And the guy comes in the next day and hands his resignation to Carnegie, and then Andrew Carnegie is like, no, you're now my most valuable employee. I just invested $100,000 in knowing that you will never make that kind of mistake again. So, and then continued on to have a prosperous business career with the guy.
Yeah.
But there is a priceless nature to failure and engaging together and having trust to be able to build together, where pockets of business where you can create that safety, where it's free to fail and move forward, they're everything for an innovative company. But anyway, I know we're out of time. I think our batteries are dying.
I don't even
So-
know. Are we out of time?
Maybe our batteries are dead. I don't know. But Simmy, thank you. And I think we'll have to have you back. We should talk through like customer service, training, all kinds of stuff. I think it'd be fun.
I hope you have me back. I hope this one doesn't air. I don't even know what I was talking about. I've had like 4 or 5 of these.
Yeah, that's been full
Yeah.
of beer. So
So, but yeah, no, thank you guys. Appreciate y'all. Hope that helps.
thank you, Simmy.
Thanks.
This is great.
Shout out North 7th book now.
Yeah.